just wanted to get people together from the Carolinas. Don't want to
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Didn't want to disclude anyone from South Carolina either. But this is also a virtual event. So hopefully we'll be able to get some things moving forward that are all across the state, both virtual and in person. So just to kick us off, just want to say welcome. Thank you guys for joining our first meeting. I want to introduce myself. My name is Autumn Earl. I'm a product owner for both AEM and Workfront for Merkle. If anybody's heard of Merkle, if you haven't, it's the same thing as Deloitte and McKesson and all the other consulting firms out there. I'm currently based in Charlotte, North Carolina. I moved here about 3 weeks ago, but I was previously in Greensboro for about a year. I've got about 9 years of experience with AEM, but I have touched everything from analytics, target, Workfront, campaign audience manager, all the fun things that you'll see in the Experience Cloud. One little fun fact about myself is that I've traveled to over 32 countries. I love to travel. I love to go to new places and explore new cultures. And hopefully that I'm getting to do my first trip to South America in the summertime to Brazil. So fingers crossed. You can also find my LinkedIn here. And if you're on the call, if you could give us just your name, where you're from, and kind of what systems that you typically work with in Adobe. And at that point, I will walk it over to you, Lokesh.
Thank you, Adam. So this is Lokesh. I manage digital analytics at Lenovo. I'm also a part of the Adobe Champions Group last year, and current year's Experience Maker of the Year award finalist. So I'm majorly responsible for Adobe Analytics and now CJA. This year, we are embarking on a journey to ensure we're getting maximum value and ROI from CJA. So this year, we are working on ensuring we implement CJA, whatever bells and whistles we got to do to ensure the platform is ready for the data ingestion and drive a lot of use cases from it for the rest of the year. So both CJA and Adobe Analytics are my suite of technology stack at Lenovo. So I'm responsible to drive ROI from this technology investment. From AEM standpoint, there is another AEM champion at Lenovo who drives AEM. Though I do not work directly on AEM, I coordinate with them closely to ensure we are integrating various AEM and Adobe Analytics assets to take advantage from it. So this is our first meeting. So I'm looking forward to coordinate and collaborate with you all to learn from you all or give some insights on what are the pitfalls that we might see in customer journey analytics, or what are the best practices that helped us, or various pros and cons of integrating all the technology stack. I'm based out of Raleigh, North Carolina, outskirts of Raleigh, North Carolina. So if you are around, I'll be happy to have coffee or something with you guys as well. All right, thank you.
I'm muted. Excuse me. So going forward, just want to remind everybody that we have Adobe Summit coming up here in the next few weeks. Both myself and Lokesh will be here. Want to just give you guys a brief overview of what that looks like. If you haven't seen it or you're not sure what it is a fantastic conference for anyone that's in the Adobe space. I've personally been a handful of times, both Summit and Max. Definitely worth the experience. The things that you'll learn and get out of this conference is far beyond, has always exceeded my expectations. I know that some of the highlights that you'll see here in the keynotes, obviously Shaq is going to be doing the Sneaks. If you've ever seen the Sneaks program, usually hosted on the second day of the conference with a handful of other award-winning authors, the CEO of Delta, I believe the CEO from GM is also going to be there. So lots of really cool people that you're going to hear a lot of great work that's coming out of their Adobe work. So if you haven't been able to go before, I highly recommend it. I believe there's even a resource down here that says how to convince your boss how to go to Adobe Summit. So next, Lokesh, do you want to talk about what you're doing at Summit as well with your sessions with analytics?
Sure. As a part of Adobe Experience Maker Award finalist, I have a 8-minute TED style talk that I'm doing on Thursday at Community Pavilion. So if you are going to be there for Adobe Summit, feel free to put this into your session along with other Experience Maker Award finalists. The Martech head from General Motors or Martech head from Coca-Cola, etc. I'll be speaking majorly on the opportunity that Gen AI has for overall business, but in my context, how would Gen AI impact my line of work in digital analytics or digital or e-commerce business overall, and what are the use cases that one use case specifically that I'm leading at Lenovo, which we are expecting a lot of major results from for the rest of the year. So feel free to add this to your session, your schedule if you're going to be there.
Great, thanks. So yeah, so really, I wanted to get, this meeting and this group is for both AEM analytics. How do they integrate together and what we can do to drive their work? So Lokesh, I know you put this slide together. If you want to just do a little quick deep dive here and explain what everyone's seeing.
Yeah, so again, this is an open forum. So we want to first, during this call, we want to get what everyone is expecting from us, whether is it just the integration of AEM and Adobe Analytics, though the group is named AEM and AA better together. We can also have AEM specific sessions or Adobe Analytics specific sessions, and we want some of you as well to talk through whatever projects that are contributing results on your side. So recently, Lenovo started AEM journey a few years back, 3 or 4 years back, while we had Adobe Analytics and Adobe Target, etc. from a while. So couple of years back, we started integrating both technologies. They are supposed to come in integrated, but there were some um, issues that we had where the account names are different, etc. So we started integrating both, and while that happened, we used to do a lot of stuff manually in tagging the asset names, etc. So I guess I wanted to walk you through the various advantages that we have been seeing. We can do a deep dive at a later stage. So one definitely is seamless data flow. We don't have to tag it separately or tag each asset separately. So with the seamless integration, both of them being Adobe's ecosystem, there is a lot of advantage of data seamlessly flowing between Adobe Analytics and AEM. We haven't executed AEM to target through the target use cases through this because our e-commerce is still on different system. So we are trying to integrate that to take advantage of and improve personalization to drive some use cases that would be based on the content consumption that comes in from AEM. The same goes for a data-driven optimization. Of course, all of these are effects of seamless data integration between AEM and AA. So apart from this, we have up up to a certain extent of unified customer view. So this is one of our project as a part of building unified customer view, where we integrate all the technology stacks, Adobe or otherwise. So we started integrating in AEM and AA to ensure we have unified customer view, which we can activate upon based on target or on through AEM or outside of our .com site. Of course, from data side, it will enhance the reporting and analysis to ensure we get the full view and full picture of what's happening from the content side and how content consumption is being linked to various other KPIs that we have from web. Could be cart additions or carts to checkouts or order conversion.
All right. Do we have any general questions from the group? So this is a peer-to-peer discussion. So if you guys have something you want to ask or talk about more, would love to see some people come on camera and let us know who you are. Raise your hand, give us your name, where you're from, and kind of what systems you work in. We'd love to hear from you guys.
Okay. I'm Mohammed Sheikh. I'm from Manulife, Canada.
Okay.
So I'm a senior manager in MarTech implementation. So what I found for integrating AEM to analytic is like in previously, AEM has to create custom data from AEM public key, you can say. Then you can use JWT in Adobe Developer to integrate AEM and analytics, like through API. I'm telling you. But now Adobe has depreciated that part, JWT, and instead of that, they said that you can use OAuth, right? There is new API system. But in that system, I don't find you any uploading the AEM key, public key. So how you integrating then if you are going for API integration through API, then how you are doing now at present? Because I don't see that option in the latest Adobe developer API this system for uploading your AEM key, public key. So that was like how you are integrating through API. If you want to be integrating the latest through AEM, through analytics, through Adobe Developer Console.
Lokesh, do you have any starters on that, or if anyone else on the call can explain what they do on from an API standpoint?
I don't, but I can come back on it. We're not, we are integrating market or other stack through APIs, but I have to get to the specifics on how my team is integrating AEM and AA for that specific question, but I'll come back on that.
Yeah, so personally, I'm not a developer and I'm very the same way. I know we're integrating it through an API. I don't have the specific specifications, but I'm more than happy to come back on this next topic, or even if you want to send your email in the chat, I'm more than happy to send you over some information with how our team is integrating that system.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. To you too. Okay. Gary, do you want to go ahead?
Let me turn my camera on so you guys can see
That's
me.
okay. Yeah.
I'm Jerry. I work at DCU, Digital Federal Credit Union, and we use AEM and Adobe Analytics. And I just wanted to verify with my team. Well, I'm not too integrated in with Adobe Analytics, but I know that after reaching out to other members of my team, we integrate Adobe Analytics and AEM through Adobe Launch. We basically use that particular method, and then plus, I'm not quite sure. We're going to migrate our Adobe managed services over to the cloud, so that might particularly change. So, and how we integrate that.
And Jared, that brings up a great point. Mohammed, do you know what if you're on the cloud or on 6.5?
Yeah. Our AEM is in 6.5.
Okay.
Ours is
but Adobe Launch is like, I don't understand. Like Launch, there is in the Launch you cannot directly integrate with Launch, right? In the Launch you don't find extension. You have to do some somewhere outside. Like for example, in the previous level, integrate is like in AEM we have instance, right? AEM instance. So we then through you want to go to API. Then Adobe has Adobe Developer Tool, right? Where you can connect your API. So in Adobe AEM, you can from instance you can get the API that public credential key, and you can use that key in the developer to console. But in Adobe Launch means there is no you cannot directly connect, right? There's no extension for XP like AEM. So Launch is like some, or directly you can go. I know that the other way is like you have embedded Launch code and you can directly go to the Adobe AEM JS file, and you can reference that Adobe Launch and you can connect. That is the other way. But I'm just telling about that API thing, which before previously it was working, but now Adobe has stopped that JWT and they prefer us the OA. There is a new, but in that system, I don't find anywhere I can, upload the AEM key, public key. That is the like at latest. I don't know. That's why I'm checking how we can connect through API.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll definitely need to get some more information on that. So that actually brings me around to a really great point I wanted to show everybody for more experiences and things like that. So if you're ever looking for support, there's some really great places that you could find beyond just our peer-to-peer group that we have here. So you guys Summit, but if you've never had a chance, I highly recommend you guys go into Experience League. A lot of people think Experience League is just the trainings that you do to learn more about the systems, get your certifications, things like that. But it goes far beyond from that and goes into this community. So for example, I work a lot in Workfront and AEM. So say I want to learn something about the Fusion or APIs, you can use the search filter here and you can see where people have actually gone into the community and asked questions and replied with answers. So if, I know I use it quite a bit within my own training for my teams, or if we're stuck on problems or issues, you can go in and take a look. So I don't know if I just typed in API and then we went down into analytics. And you can see, obviously, there's tons of different documentations on analytics reporting and the API here. But if we go into the community, maybe let's look at this first question. And again, just to show you guys kind of what it's going here, trying to pull data using Adobe Analytics with this API too. And they're able to authenticate the method. However, they're running into this error transfer failure. And it's interesting to see that, you know, sometimes we get questions and answers if you're trying to retrieve something. But however, it's just a great way to look in and see what is available and see what other people are doing. So if you have a question, you don't have enough time to get to Adobe support and you want to see what else is out there, I highly recommend using this Experience League. As Lokesh put in the chat, if there's anyone on the call that works with CJA that could give some examples or knowledge to the question at hand, that would be great.
Yeah, there sounds like there's a lot of interest in integration. Maybe we can do a session on how to integrate or various other aspects. During the session, we just wanted it to be a broad stroke of what all we can cover and gauge the interest on where people are coming from. But yeah, I just want, my background is CJA and Adobe Analytics. So if I understand Rajdeep already said he's an analytics expert based out of Toronto, but if there are any other Adobe Analytics or CJA guys, we want to gauge the interest and see what content you guys want us to bring over for next sessions.
Yeah, feel free to add it in the chat, come off camera, or just unmute yourself and let us know what you guys think. This is definitely an open forum for everyone to be involved.
Hey, I'm Vicky, Victoria Killeran, but please, you can call me Vicky. So I'm with United Bank in Charlotte. So welcome to Charlotte, Adam.
Thank you. Yeah.
So I come more from the business side. So a lot of what you guys are talking about are way over my head.
Sure.
We just adopted AEM as a cloud service, I guess a little over a year ago or so. So we went from a Drupal platform over to Adobe. We've got Adobe Target, and of course analytics. Literally, we have all the foundational pieces in place, all the contents in place, but we are and we have a very small team. We have an implementation partner that helps with all the back end stuff, like if we need APIs or we need development work, any customizations, I have that support.
Yeah.
But so I am just beginning to take a step into all this integration. Like, how do we use Target and analytics to begin personalization and, create these customized experiences just from a marketing perspective on the site? How do I get through compliance challenges? Because, being in the banking industry, of course, I run into all that stuff, privacy and security and all that good stuff. How do I work with my IT security folks? Because as soon as they hear me trying to do behavioral targeting, it's red flags and what are you sharing and what do you mean? They create a unique ID. Well, I need to see that. How does it work? And and my struggle is because I'm not a developer.
Yeah.
I don't know the technical aspects. And then you try to, ask Adobe support and it's like going into, this black hole of like, and I'll get links to Experience League and, and then I read the stuff and again, it's over my head.
Sure.
So like I said, we do have an implementation partner that can help translate some of that stuff. So that's helpful. We did hire a front-end developer over the summer. and he's getting up to speed. He didn't have Adobe specific experience, but he does a lot of the work in GitHub and all that stuff, so that's where I'm coming from. Like I said, I'm coming a little bit more on how do I make Adobe work in the best way possible, and what support do I need? Like, it's like, because I know I can do what I do. I can build pages. I can do the basics, and I don't want to be a developer. So
So I'm completely there with you. I'm definitely more on the business side of things as well. That being said, I was a front-end developer in a past life 10 years ago. Not anymore. Definitely on the business side of things, and I appreciate it. And I've done a lot of implementations across different clients. It's so funny you say that. There was actually an Adobe event last night in Charlotte at the Merchant and Trade, and there were so many people from Ally and Bank of America who all use the systems. And I really want to connect you with their analytics guy, because I talked with him for over an hour yesterday on how the two systems flow. And being in the cloud, as I mentioned before, I think has a lot more capabilities and easier integrations than when you're on 6.5, which could be, Muhammad, as I mentioned before, one of the reasons that you might be having some of those issues. I know, no offense to Chase, but I know Adobe, obviously wants to push for everybody to be on the cloud. It's a bigger push, but there are some struggles when you're coming not on the cloud. So going from that regard, I would say welcome. Definitely bring your questions that you're not sure about to the table. What I would love to see from this group and this community is people showcasing their skills and their knowledge. Both, again, you don't have to be obviously from the Carolinas to join this group, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a deep dive into the specifics of the development piece of the work, but it could be if that's what the group wants. So I really want to continue to hear from you guys, who you are, what you do, what your background is in. That helps us cater to this team and this group, what our next meetings will be like. Yeah. Oh, anyone else like to go?
I can go next.
Yeah.
Hi, Autumn and Lokesh. Nice meeting you. My name is Tanya Zhang. I'm from Havas Group. That's an advertising agency. So Autumn, very similar to your background currently at Merkle. So we serve a lot of clients, and we get Adobe access typically through our clients' access.
Sure.
Our team are fairly familiar with Adobe Analytics, but not CJA. So I guess my question is, maybe without involving the Adobe consultants yet, how can we kind of, get started on CJI, understand that a little more, and then ultimately kind of bring that to, our clients team and other teams to, promote CJA. Yeah,
that's a great question. Again, I would highly recommend going to Experience League. I have not personally integrated with CJA, but I know people on my team that have. I think it's a great system to use. In the Experience League, if you go into the learning events and you go over to the recommended courses, there should be, that's the one that I'm working on. If I can find it, there should be.
Yeah, while you do that, right? Yes, there is a ton of content here on Experience League that you can go through on getting started with CJA. There are recordings from last summit that greatly helped me, where they talked about particularly Trevor Paulson and other CJA product guys. They talked a lot about how you can get started with customer journey analytics and what is the differentiator between Adobe Analytics and Customer Journey Analytics. So that could be a great place to start. Adobe put out a ton of content. So there are a lot of blogs as well to get you started. That is one side of it. The second side of it is if one of your clients is into sales cycle of Adobe CJA for them, Adobe usually schedules a full day training session to talk to you guys or to talk to your clients on, hey, here is what CJA can bring into the table. So they'll do a CJA lab, so you can talk to your customer success, rep or your account executive that can do that for you. So that's one more way.
Yeah, thanks, Lokesh. Appreciate that. Yeah, so what I sent over, that's some documentation. The first one is for the certification piece of it. Merkle, thankfully, is a platinum partner of Adobe, so I do get a lot more access to some documentations and trainings than if you don't have that that product, you may or may not be able to get into the trainings a little more than we have or without having to pay for it. But that second piece in the documentation, that guide here specifically is amazing material. I believe this is available to pretty much everybody. And then once you start getting into that implementation piece, I highly recommend when you do have those questions, bring it to the user group, go into the community and ask there if there's anything going on. Jerry, Pam, I see a few different questions open, hands raised. And Mohammed,
Yeah,
sorry,
Pam can go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll go first. I'm from Caesars Entertainment. I am absolutely not in the Carolinas. I am in Texas, but I joined anyway because I'm always looking for a community. And so my suggestion for the community, aside from what you're doing, which is great and very valuable, is consider some breakout sessions where you do talk to or try and get people in the room who both have experience and have questions. So I think I'm probably further along in the implementation and Caesars is probably further along in using stuff than some of the members here. And I am always happy to share what I know in the hopes that if somebody else has experienced some trauma with it, I can help because I've been there and I've already had that trauma, and vice versa, right? If somebody else has had some experience and they can share, or I have a question about how to do something, somebody else might know. So more of an open session, I guess, Q&A type situation. I mean, the presentations are great. The talking about where to go and all that's great, but just a little bit more in the weeds, I guess, hand holding. How do I do this one thing that I just cannot for the life of me figure out?
So this is definitely our goal for that. Again, this was really just a kickoff for us to showcase who we are, what we're starting, why we're starting it, and for us to get the community together. And thank you for being not from the Carolinas. It says the Carolinas, but this is obviously mostly will be virtual events that will showcase. We're right now about once a quarter, we're planning for this. If we have more need or more desire to join, I would love to have, once a month. Pam, if you would like to do a presentation or, an open question forum on something or showcase what you've done, absolutely would love that. We 100% put that on the schedule with everyone that's interested. Make sure we get that, sent out for people who are interested, because we definitely will be using that going forward. We did not have anything set specifically for this meeting, but to get the questions and see, who was doing what with what. So I appreciate that. And
yeah, if you want to reach out, I'm happy to. I straddle both the business side and the implementation side. I kind of do both. So I consider myself a pretty good resource. And like I said, I'm always happy to answer questions or help people. I tried to set up something on my own through LinkedIn. This is a little bit more organized, and I appreciate that help because I can't do it all, but
100%.
But I'm happy to help.
Okay, great. I will definitely take that into consideration. Bill will be reaching out soon. And I think I have everyone's email, but if I don't and you are interested in something, just again, send it in the chat or in the group itself. I believe if you go into the group, if I can open it, it should. You should be able to see any comments or questions in there. Anyways, okay, Jerry.
Yeah, this is just going back to the question I have regarding CJA. We are again, I'm from DC. I work in the finance industry, and Victoria, you seem like you have a lot of the same problems that I run into with regards to compliance and things of that nature. We use Adobe Target. We use Audience Manager, which we set up through Adobe Target. We can manage audiences that way. So I'd be happy to talk to you offline and to tell you how we basically do that sort of thing. But like I said, you're one step ahead of us where you're on the cloud and we are in the process of migrating to the cloud. But we're updating a lot of our products. Particularly, we're going to be going from Adobe Analytics to CJA, but it's my understanding that CJA works with Adobe Experience Platform, which is what we're also going to be updating to. So I was not aware that CJA could work with AEM. Is that true? Or I just wanted to get clarification on that.
I'll take that. So AEM not yet. CJA currently is more of BI. It will eventually can be brought into CJA, just like how AEM and AA is integrated. Again, probably we'll get the correct answer or specific answer from the product guys. So yeah, Chase will take the question. We are in the similar journey, but across e-commerce, where we are migrating from Adobe Analytics to CJA, integrating all the Adobe data, or Adobe Analytics data, I would say, not Adobe, and then bringing on more MarTech data, CRM data, etc., into CJA, and using AEP to kind of activate those audiences in target, etc. We haven't thought of AEM to CJA yet, just because AEM is currently only being used for a part of Lenovo, and I'm not directly linked to that group. But yeah, I think Chase will get you specific answer to that question on AEM to CJA integration.
Definitely.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'll take it back to the team for you, Jerry. And yes, I can shoot you an email.
Awesome.
Yeah,
So
Tim,
the quick answer for that is that you have to use Web SDK. Yes, they can talk to each other, but you have to use Web SDK.
Okay.
Good. Lot of interest on lot of integrations. Like I said earlier, maybe we can cover 15 minutes in the next session, particularly talking about integration. What is like assuming what is a must-have when you're thinking of integration? Is it Web SDK or is it AEP and so on? We can talk 15-20 minutes, particularly about integration in our next one.
Yeah, I'll definitely put that out as our next topic for the next few months. Okay. Anyone else want to introduce themselves or have a question they'd like to go through? Not, yeah, so other places that you can look, obviously we have our user group. If you go to the Bevy platform, that's where you can find this original user group. Obviously we are not the only ones that exist. There are lots of different organizations that have started user groups. We have things you can region it down by North America. We have lots of different ones, omni-channel. If you want to look at web content, digital assets, things like that. But again, we can also look at if it's not just AEM. I'm specific to AEM, obviously. But if we move forward, I believe there should be a way. There we go. Chapters. That's what I'm looking for. In the chapters here that we have for Marketo, Analytics, and Experience Manager. To load.
I can send out the links, Autumn. Yeah,
Thank
they're just on different sites. But yes, we do have Analytics, AEM, and Marketo chapters if you guys are looking for any specific groups. But yeah, this is great kickoff event. Super excited about this, Autumn, but I will kick it back to you.
Appreciate it. Yeah. So yeah, just noticing that, if you are, I know that specifically, I heard someone from Canada, definitely still want you guys to join, but if you are specific in analytics, there's even a Canada one, but a few different all over the country and the world. So definitely some good places to continue working on topics and discussions that we may have in the future. So it sounds like, that integration will definitely be our next focus. But I know we have about 20 minutes left. So if there's anything else that you guys want to go through or talk about, I'd love to hear from you guys.
I'm just curious, is anyone else other than using the screens aspect of AEM?
I had one client use it about 3 years ago, but I've not seen anyone use it since.
Yeah, we're fully integrated with Adobe Screens. We have like I said, I work for a credit union, and we have 23 branches throughout New England. I'm in Marlborough, Massachusetts.
Okay, yeah.
And we have our Screens networks, which consists of over 86 devices that are connected through the Adobe Experience Manager and Screens. It works really well.
Yeah, so I've used it before, specifically using content fragments. It's gone very well for that client I talked about. I haven't done any implementation since that one previously. But yeah, it had no issues with me, and I think it's connected with analytics. I haven't been on that project in a while, so I don't quite remember what we did. But it's definitely a good device or good tool to use across different devices, especially if we used it. It was a retail vertical that used it in their stores, which was really nice.
I was just curious.
Yeah. I do know of another client. I'm not personally on the project, but they were using it to integrate retail media network, but also with Screens. So it wasn't just on their website, but it was seen live in stores as well.
Well, yeah, that's what we did. I created a series of channels through Screens, and we load content, and we can target specific branches to run specific content, through a channel, which we publish, and it works really well. I was just curious if anybody else does, because we're also migrating our Screens instance over to the cloud as well, along with our sites portion of AEM. And so we're running into a little bit of some issues with regards to using the content transfer tool and all things like that. So
typically I know most of my developers, when we did the migration, the content server tool is great. It is a great tool, but we had some issues. We ended up just writing a servlet. It was just easier overall to map the components one-to-one, or putting it in Excel. That was our workaround, which is definitely a bigger uplift of work. Not as nice as the tool.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Does anyone else want to share where they're from, what they do, just kind of get an idea? It sounds like majority of this call is more into the analytics piece, which I'm more than happy to focus on. I just will look to Lokesh, who is way more of an expert in analytics than I am.
Hi all. I'm Akshay, and I'm from Munich, Germany.
Oh, welcome.
Yeah. So
good evening there.
Yes, it is good evening.
Yeah.
I am a power user of Adobe Analytics. I've been using Adobe Analytics throughout my life. I mean, not my life, but yes, throughout my career. And currently, what's happening is we are planning to move to CJA, but there are still some hiccups. And when I compare Adobe Analytics and CJA, there are some things which CJA does not support. So do you have any idea or any experience that if in some cases how CJA can support, like for example in data sources, the transactional data sources which is being uploaded in Adobe Analytics, and it is still planned for CJA also, but it's still not happening. So is there any timeline or a different workaround on how things can work in those directions? Because if that does not happen, I don't think CJA is very near for a lot of companies.
So let me answer that. So it might be called different one in CJA. CJA is more of integrations than an Adobe Analytics is. We use the data feeds and data sources for uploading offline transactional data into Adobe Analytics too. But you should be able to do it seamlessly on CJA. Again, we are still very early. I mean, me personally, as a part of my group is very early, still doing that project management plan to integrate various things, but you should be able to do that in CJA to integrate offline data or any other data for that matter, as long as you have a primary key or a common key that you can connect it with.
Yeah, I think you need to do what you need to do is like you need to upload those sources from outside the analytic in the AEP, not in CGA. In AEP, you have to upload. In AEP, you will get the web SDK data plus all the data source from your internet. It can be Adobe like CRM data or your. So you have to integrate, and those data you need to connect in CGA. So you are not going to directly upload in CGA. You have to upload in AEP. Then you will find the data to in CGA. So that is the process.
So there's a different workaround, not like Adobe Analytics, which works in a direct way. Okay. And from your experience, Lokesh, you're saying that you're in a very early stage of CJA thing. So from your experience, Adobe Analytics is something which is there from a very long time. And people are very well versed with Adobe Analytics, working on that. I mean, it's a self-service tool working on workspace, and for example, the whole company is working on that. They have access to it. So what do you think that how much time will it take for a company to come from Adobe Analytics completely to CJA? Because what I feel is, I mean, it's very difficult to make a company come from AA to CJA in a quick span of time, because that's not happening. Because we struggled a lot to make people use Adobe Analytics, make different teams use Adobe Analytics as a self-service tool. But now coming to CJA, I personally feel it is difficult for me.
Yeah, I understand the skepticism, right? And that's a great question. One good thing with CJA is all the UI and the way you drag and drop, the way you create free forms, visualizations, etc. Everything is the same. So it doesn't take a lot of effort and lot of mantle to kind of learn CJA. If you are a power user of Adobe Analytics, you should be easily able to use customer journey analytics from analysis standpoint, because all the principles remain the same and all the mechanism remains the same. What is difficult is the way you integrate data into AA is minimal, and it's not it's different from how you would integrate into CJ. Like Mohammed called out, it is in a way it is through AEP, or when you want to integrate let's say offline data source or CRM data, you got to prep that data and create schemas. And so the engineering part, in which we call it plumbing at Lenovo, is what is a little difficult, and you need good data engineers on your side and good developers on your side to do the integration. But when it comes to usage standpoint, again, we haven't been there yet where I have to make marketing teams to use CJA like they used to use Adobe Analytics. But based on what my team has been using and what I have been using, the UI and the look and feel of it is exactly same like Adobe Analytics. So it should not feel like, okay, I've been using Adobe, now I want to switch to Power BI or anything else. So I've got to go through that learning curve. It's UI, everything is the same. So you just have to be cognizant of what's different here and do the drag and drop. So it was not a problem. It is not a problem so far.
Cool. Thank you.
By the way, there is Frederick Warner, who is Adobe Analytics Champions Group in Germany. So I'll probably introduce you to him. He does a lot of.
I met him last Thursday. Yes.
Oh, nice. Okay, you were there at the Thursday event.
Yeah.
I think
nice. Awesome.
There's an AEM champion named Kimon as well, who I think he works with Deloitte, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, he's great contact or connection if you ever need questions in the AEM space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's anyone else wants to come off mute? I heard a lot of interest on integrations. I heard a lot of interest on Adobe Analytics to CJA. We will probably muzzle up on those two topics for our next session. But I love a lot of you guys coming off mute, introducing yourself, expressing what you're looking for the group. This is great. This is a great kickoff.
Hi, Tim. Yeah, I'm Mohammed Sheikh. I'm from Vancouver, Canada. So I work in Manulife, senior manager, Martech. So what we did is like, we have been working in Adobe tools like Adobe Analytics, Target, and Adobe Audience Manager. Now totally shifting to Web SDK from Adobe to Web SDK, that is CJ. then audience manager to RTCDP, real-time CDP. And we have a tool from before it was Adobe Campaign, now it's AGO, Adobe Journey Optimizer. So everything is related to, and all that is like the thing we are now doing is totally in AEP, because all the AGO, RTCDP, and CJ is based on AEP. It's sit on AEP, means you have to create schema, then only you can start working. So that is the like we are looking forward to work on this main part like CJ, AEP, RTCDP, and AGO. Thanks.
That's a good point. Yes. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Even before you do this, Web SDK is a huge piece of that. Like I said, the Samat recordings are a great resource. I presented last year about our story of migrating from app measurement to Web SDK and successes we had. I'm sure there will be stories like that this year, which we plan to put together for our next session for you to go through, saying, okay, here are 4 or 5 links which has recordings of AA to AEM integration or AEM to CJ or so on kind of integrations that were covered at Summit. So you can kind of listen to the recording to know more or anything about CJA getting started, etc. So we plan to put together that one as well for our next session to share those links that you can take advantage of.
Thanks. And Lokesh, I think last year I saw you. I think in Vegas you were there, right? In last year also,
yes.
in the Adobe Summit. Yeah, I was attending your class. Yeah, thanks.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, anyone else wants to say anything? Right, if not, thank you guys for your time. This is a great kickoff. I'm sure I took some notes, Chase took some notes, Artem took some notes. We'll come back with a different one for the next one.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, I know there's definitely more of an analytics push here, so we'll continue to add that and get the next session probably created for sometime in the May timeframe. So in the meantime, if you still have questions, feel free to send them over to both Lokesh and myself. We'll send out this deck, and Pam, I definitely will be looking to you for some next session updates and maybe something to showcase later in the summer. Great. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.